What's up everybody, it's Sean here and I'm super excited to give you guys my review of the Nike Pegasus Premium in the Summit White and Bright Crimson colorway. So to a non-runner like myself, this shoe has been one of the most hyped Nike running shoes to release in quite some time. Selling out instantly in this debut colorway, they recently finally released here in Canada, which is how I managed to grab this pair. And while this is technically a running shoe, like I mentioned, I'm not a runner. I just get my cardio through basketball. So one of the problems you might face if you're not getting enough kilometers or miles under your feet is an ever expanding waistline. So that's where the sponsor for today's video comes into play, Anson Belt & Buckle. So Anson Belt & Buckle is a family-owned business, and they've really changed the game in terms of how belts work. Traditional belts utilize holes that are punched out that are 1 inch apart. But I've faced this problem myself. Let's say I don't wear a belt for a couple months and then I go back to it only to discover that that size that once fit me perfectly just doesn't fit me the same anymore. So for Anson Belt & Buckle, their belts utilize a micro-adjustable track system, which are spaced out a 1/4 inch apart, which means no matter how much your waist expands or how much weight you lose, this one belt is still gonna fit you regardless. And it's not only that, you can actually mix any of their straps with any of their buckles. So for example, in my case, I have this brown belt and I also have this black leather belt. And depending on the fit that I'm wearing or the sneakers that I'm rocking, I can swap out both of these buckles with each corresponding strap, effectively giving me 4 different styles of belts when it's technically only just 2. And if you look on their website, they offer a ton of variety, so you're gonna find something that fits any outfit you're looking for. Whether that's a leather belt, a canvas belt, a micro suede belt, the list goes on, and even for their buckles. Whereas these two can be dressed up a little bit more, I also have this nylon belt with this blacked out buckle, which obviously has more of a casual feel and vibe. And Anson Belt & Buckle have been around since 2009 and they have over 40,000 5-star reviews, and they offer a lifetime guarantee on the functionality of their products, which shows you how much they truly believe in it. And because Anson Belt & Buckle is sponsoring today's video, when you click the link down below in the description box or scan this QR code right here on the screen, when you build your very own box set, you'll get 2 items, a buckle and a belt, completely free. So in that box set, that's a total of 3 buckles and 3 straps, basically giving you 9 different combinations of belts, all in that one single box set. So this is an exclusive deal you're not gonna find just from going on their website alone. So be sure to click that link down below, build your set, and elevate your belt game to the next level. So this shoe was one that I was very curious to get my hands on. Not because I wanted to run in them, I know this might be blasphemous, but from a casual user's perspective, I want to see how these were on foot. So before going any further, if you're looking for an actual in-depth performance running shoe review, unfortunately this is not gonna be the right video for you. This is the right video for you if you're looking for just a casual user's perspective, if you're just gonna plan on walking around in these and just wearing them as an everyday sort of sneaker. So these retail for a very expensive $210 US or $270 here in Canada, and the official colorway for this pair is Summit White, Bright Crimson, Phantom, and Black. So jumping straight into the details of the shoe itself, the upper of the shoe is crafted out of engineered mesh. And as you can see on the toe box, this is a very airy and breathable mesh. There's no secondary layer underneath the toe box, so it's gonna be very breathable, and it's also gonna reduce the weight on the upper as well. Right above this, towards the middle, we have this shiny silver Nike Swoosh, and then surrounding the front toe cap, we have this fused layer, which is actually reflective in nature, and then surrounding the bottom, we have a very thin mesh, which has more of a plastic-like feel, unlike the fabric-like feel that the mesh has above it. The eyelets are done in this trail-like style, so it's a speedier and a more efficient way to lace up your laces. Underneath this, we can see that reflective 3M strip. This runs down the entire length of the shoe, and then underneath this, we have more of that plastic-like mesh, revealing that perforated layer underneath, and then bonded on top of this, we have this large gray-colored Nike swoosh. And then on the bottom of the heel, we have this protruding tab with orange-colored wings representing Pegasus. And you'll notice how the top of the heel, instead of a traditional pull tab, it basically juts out and extends outwards. And this basically acts as a pull tab, allowing you to get your foot into and out of the shoe a little bit easier. When you look at the medial side, instead of the swoosh here, we have the words Air and Zoom on the left and right foot respectively. And then towards the heel, we have this large, shiny silver Nike swoosh, which is bonded onto the mesh itself. As far as the laces go, this pair only comes with 1 lace option, and they're a flat white colored lace with reflective 3M woven within it. Underneath this, the bottom half of the tongue is covered in this perforated nylon-like material, and it feels pretty padded to the touch. The top of the tongue is also padded, and it's covered in what feels like a synthetic suede. And then running down the center, we have this woven tag, and it has the words Nike Pegasus Premium on it. The interior of the shoe is covered in this white colored liner, and there's some padding in this collar, not overly beefy, but enough that you can feel that cushioning around your ankles. For the insoles, these come with a pretty thin foam-lined insole. It's covered in a crimson colored mesh on top, and we have Air Zoom branding pressed onto the heel. So the upper of this shoe, it sits atop the most important part about the sneaker, which is the midsole that features 3 different types of Nike technology. So the top layer of this midsole is Nike ZoomX foam, and this is basically the top of the line foam that is extremely lightweight and extremely bouncy and responsive. Underneath this, we have a full-length Air Zoom or Zoom airbag, which helps with the responsiveness of the shoe and gives it more of that springy feel. And then on the bottom, covering the back half of the midsole, we finally have Nike ReactX. This is another type of foam that's supposed to be a bit more environmentally friendly. It gives the shoe a little bit more stability while not sacrificing cushioning and performance. So obviously with this being 3 layers, you are very high off the ground, but it's the reason why the shoe is extremely comfortable. Turning the shoe over to the bottom, so the outsole here is crafted out of white colored rubber. So we have these diamond shaped nubs found all throughout, and these nubs have a decent depth and thickness to them. And curving down the center, we have this cutaway exposing this Air Zoom branding, and this helps eliminate a little bit of weight as well. So that breaks down the look and the construction of this pair. And for those wondering about how these fit, overall these are true to size, but they fit pretty narrow around the midfoot area. So I'm a true size 10, slightly on the wider side, meaning when I go to a shoe store, step on an actual branding device, I'm a size 10 in between a D and an E width. Getting these in a size 10, the length of the shoe is fine. Even the toe box fits relatively comfortably, but it's around this midfoot area right here where when you tighten up the laces, they really hug your foot in a one-to-one contained way. So this wasn't an uncomfortable shoe, but if you have like a really wide foot, you might want to consider going up half a size. Otherwise, if you're okay with a snug one-to-one sock-like fit, then go true to size. Moving on to the comfort, so from a casual user's perspective, this shoe is extremely comfortable. The combination of the ZoomX, the Air Zoom, and the ReactX gives the wearer a very soft, but a very responsive feel underfoot, so it's not gonna feel dead. Even just from taking casual steps in these, you can feel that bounce back of the foam. So I can only imagine how effective this would be if I'm actually running and putting that full force onto the cushioning. The heel, for obvious reasons, because it's more stacked, it has a bit more of a cushioned feel. And again, because it's so stacked, you don't really have the best ground feel. And also because of the nature of the foam, it's not the best from a stability standpoint. But all those negative points aside, if you're looking for a decently plush, very responsive shoe that's very breathable on the upper, and you don't mind more of a bottom heavy feeling sneaker, this is gonna be a very great option. Obviously the price point is high, but it's packed with technology, so if budget isn't a concern for you, then I would recommend trying these on. Finally, in terms of the quality and the craftsmanship, so first off, material quality I thought was fine. Obviously this is a performance running shoe, so they have performance materials in mind. So we have engineered meshes, fuse overlays, reflective panels. That makes sense from an actual performance standpoint, and I thought the build of the shoe was fine. It was free of any flaws. And it's good to see that because the price point is extremely high. So I would have been extremely disappointed if the workmanship on the shoe was very flawed. But luckily for me, my pair was pretty much perfect. So with all that out of the way now, let's toss these on feet, I'll lace them up, and I'll show you guys how these look. Generally speaking, I'm a huge fan of sneaker technology, so when Nike puts out a shoe like this, combining 3 of their most top-of-the-line cushioning technologies, this is just a shoe that I was very curious to see how they were in person. And there's something to be said about seeing that Zoom Air unit just compress and spring back. I'm just a sucker for seeing things like that, and I think this shoe really lived up to its claims. Again, I'm not running in these, so if you're looking for my opinion on how these perform, that's probably going to be a different story. But just from a casual user's perspective, this is very comfortable, it feels very breathable for the summer, and yes, it is a narrow fitting shoe, but not to the point where it was painful or uncomfortable. I know the price point is extremely high, but given the tech that's within this shoe, I think it's not too crazy to stomach. What are your overall thoughts on this shoe? For those that have worn this, whether to run in or to walk in casually, leave your thoughts down below of what you guys think. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. I'll link my social media accounts down below for you guys to check out. And again, another huge shout out goes out to Anson Belt and Buckle for sponsoring today's video. Don't forget my exclusive deal for the box set is available down below or on this QR code. So don't sleep, take advantage of it, because honestly guys, it's a product I really believe in, and it really changes how I see belts going forward. So thank you again for tuning in, and I'll catch everybody in my next review.